We begin with a developing story in Orchard Park tonight. First responders battled dangerous terrain to rescue a driver who crashed into a ravine. News 4's Rachel Kingston is live in the newsroom with the very latest. Rachel?
Melissa, this was a new experience, even for seasoned volunteer firefighters. They had to extricate a patient from a wrecked car while standing sideways on an embankment and then carry the victim out of the ravine.
As the pictures will, I'm sure, show you here, that it was a quite an intense accident and quite an intense recovery and extrication on the part of the fire department to get the passenger out.
The accident scene was unlike anything Orchard Park volunteer firefighters had ever encountered. A car lying sideways in pieces more than 50 feet below the road on a steep embankment, with the driver trapped inside.
Normally we pull a person out of the ravine. The real challenge here today was we had to pull a person, extricate a person from a vehicle down in a ravine, and then from that point had to get the person on up. So it pulled together all of the elements of our training, and in some cases maybe pushed it to a new dimension.
Rope teams had to lower firefighters into the ravine, then carry both the victim and the firefighters back up the embankment after the extrication. The whole process took about an hour.
It's very labor-intensive, time-consuming, and I think it shows, especially on the part of the volunteers that are all here today. There's a lot of stuff that goes into what they do.
If this accident had happened after the spring thaw or a particularly heavy rain, the driver could have drowned before firefighters even reached the car. But at this time of year, the creek that flows through the ravine is practically bone dry.
I can only imagine what would happen if this was maybe later in the fall, when we maybe had some water flowing through there, because this area does tend to flow a large amount of water from time to time.
The car ripped apart the metal guide rail, uprooted a street sign, and sheared off trees as it plunged into the ravine. Miraculously, Nevereth says the driver was conscious and alert during the extrication.
The driver was flown to ECMC by Mercy flight. Right now, we do not know that person's name or condition. We are in touch with Orchard Park Police, who are now trying to figure out what caused this crash. Live in the newsroom, Rachel Kingston, News 4 at 6.